Howdy everyone, this is LockNutz, and you're watching a map tour of Somerset Farms by Steve's Mods. Hopefully you'll stick around to see what happens. Howdy, how are you guys doing today? Oh my goodness, I tell you what, today we get to go on a map tour of Somerset Farms by Steve's Mods. This little bad mamma jamma is 194.65 megabytes to download and is very cross-platform friendly. Now this map here is based off of areas of the UK, not any place in particular, but just kind of the general UK feel, I guess is the best way to describe it. Now we've gone ahead and started this gameplay off in new farmer mode. That way you guys would know what you would get if you did start new farmers mode. So without further ado, let's see what equipment you'd be starting with. Alright everyone, this is your equipment that you start off with. Now you do not start off with this truck right here. I bought this so that we could go ahead and travel around the map. But looking at small tractors, you have the Case Maxim for a small tractor, followed up by a McCormick for a medium tractor, and large tractors you round out with the Case Magnum 340. Not too bad, nice little trifecta there. Harvesters, you have the Ruthless Mesh Nova, and that does come with the grain header, and it does also have a header trailer to pull it around with. Trailers wise, you do have the Kloss Carrot, nice and neat there. Plows, you have the Convernland Eco Mat. Cultivators, you have a horse cultivator. Power Harrow, you have an Amazon. Seeder, you have an Amazon. Planter, you have an Amazon. And fertilizer spreader, you have an Amazon. Not too shabby at all. Now, this fertilizer spreader just does fertilizer. It does not do lime, so keep that in mind. If you have to lime anything, you need to get something else. For sprayers, why, you have a Hardy, nice little combo. You have the main sprayer, and you have the external tank. Tedders, you have the Kuhn Tedder. Windrowers, you have a SIP windrower. Balers, you have a Pottinger Impress. Bale loader, or bale trailer, you have the Farm Tech trailer. Front loaders, you have a Quickie front loader, and that comes along with the Bale King, pallet forks, and universal bucket. And around everything off, you have one weight to get yourself around. Oh my goodness, so that's what you got for equipment-wise. Let's go take a look at that map. All right, everyone, so this is the map, and as you can see, it's not a terribly large map, but you know what? That's just fine. A lot of fields on here with a bunch of irregular shapes, some straight edges, but a lot of irregular shapes. Helpers are going to struggle on this map, that's for sure. You have a water filling station down here, which is actually a lake. That's pretty darn slick. You have the sawmill, which is actually the only production on the map. For starters, you do have the BGA right over here, but you actually have to buy this plot of land to be able to get that, and I'll show you that in a second. You do have 4 farms on here. You have a pig farm, or I should say a sheep farm up here, a pig farm, a horse farm, and the main farm has cows, so kind of keep that in mind. You got your shop, a couple sell points, gas station. All in all, not too bad. Looking at the map, like I said, to buy the BGA, you have to spend $152,000, which isn't terrible. But just wanted to let you know, this area also has a lot of extra space on it, so if you wanted to buy it and use it as a place for placeables, that wouldn't be too shabby. So what you actually started off with is Field 27, Field 24, 21, and then this starting farm over here. Looking at the cheapest field on the map is little old Field 23, coming in at $24,000. Opposite end of the spectrum, Field 46 coming in at a whopping $207,000, and you have all sorts of fields within those price ranges. Now, when it comes to the exterior of the map, that doesn't cost you anything, but as a bonus, Field 35 is included in that. So Field 35 you can actually get for absolutely nothing. Might change it at a future update, but letting you know as of right now, Field 35 doesn't cost anything because it's lumped in with everything else. Now this horse farm down here comes in at 58,000. The pig farm comes in at 113, and then the sheep farm comes in at 121. All in all, not too shabby. You do have one forestry area on the map, but like I said, all these fields in here, they're all relatively reasonably priced. They're nothing that's too absolutely crazy. Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. So I think at this point, let's go ahead, get down on the ground, and take a look at this map from first-person view. All right, everyone, so here we are at the shop. I figured this is as good a spot as any to jump out and take a look at things, get our tour rocking and rolling and starting. So if you guys go ahead and reset any of your vehicles, they do show up right over here. And if you do purchase anything, the purchase placeable area, however you want to look at it, where you purchase something starts to spawn, it starts kind of over in this area and just fills up going over here. So lots of space for a lot of equipment. You're not going to really run into any issues of borrowing equipment for a contract and running into that being an issue, or lack of space being an issue. That's just not going to end up happening. So one of the things that I do want to do here really quick is I do want to turn the map on so you guys can kind of follow along with me where we go. Now, these hedges right here, you can actually go through. Keep that in mind. Not the stone ones, but these ones over here. These hedges you can go through. And one of the things that I will end up doing here is I will end up be driving through the fields. Not to bother anybody intentionally, although I do get a kick out of it. But I do like to drive through there so that everyone can kind of keep track or see what the field and the lay of the land actually looks like. So here is part of your farmyard that you get for starting. You do have these collectibles on here. There are 100 of them, and as you can see, you get $1,000. Not too shabby at all. You got nice storage over here, a little bit of storage there. You have a lime tank that's right on your property. That's very, very handy. And this is the other side of that property where you have some storage over here, storage back around on the back side. It appears that there might be enough room if you want to go ahead and put some placeable back over here. Can't be a big thing, maybe an extra silo or something like that, but that's right about it. You do have your cow shed over in this general area so that you can get yourself rocking and rolling. Now, you do not start off with animals on any of the game modes, so keep that in mind. But all of the equipment you actually start off with no matter what game mode you go from. So if you want to start from scratch and do a true start from scratch, you're going to need to hop on and sell all of the equipment. Now, this is where the tour starts to get a little jazzy because I'm going to start driving off the roads and getting onto the fields. I figure by going ahead and driving on the fields, it kind of gives everybody a good lay of the land, an opportunity to see what the fields actually look like, see what the landscape actually looks like. What are you going to have to do for farming? Are you going to have to upsize things? Are you going to have to downsize things? What is going to happen ultimately? So right over here, you have a little bit of forestry that you guys can go ahead and do. You do have one sell point up here, so kind of keep that in mind. And we're going to head back on over this way. You do have a nice little starting farm right over here if you really wanted to. You don't have any equipment that's right there, or I should say you don't have any animal pens right there, but you do have a starting farm. Now, over here is that water filling point. This is very steep right here. It's hard to get your vehicle up and down. This is part of the chunk of land that's free, so what you may end up having to do is you may end up having to build some sort of ramp just to be able to get down here and take care of that. You can't, even though it's more gentle on that side, you can't come down and around because the water goes off map. So you can't do anything there. You're probably going to end up having to do something with that ramp. Or I should say with that bit of a gorge. We'll just call it a gorge. Now over here is the BGA area where you have to purchase, and it does share some of its property with the animal trader, but if you take a look at this over here, like I was saying, there's a lot of extra space. You could probably throw down a couple factories if you really want to, any sorts of placeables that you'd want. Not too shabby at all. It might actually be even not be a bad spot to do a starting farm. The choice is completely up to you. I'm just taking a look at it and seeing it for what it is. Now, I do want to come back in here and swing around here because I did not touch on this when we were looking at properties. Like I said, it's not a big chunk of land here. You don't have much happening for you, but you do have that opportunity if you choose to buy this one. And actually, we're going to go like this because farmland, I want to double check something. That's what I thought. Okay, you do have, this is a fifth location that I must have goofed up on for 82,000, and here you have your chickens. Now, I take that back, or I should say, when you're starting on all game modes, you have access to all of the pens, except for this one. This is the only one you don't have any access to no matter what until you purchase it. So that's pretty darn slick right there. I hadn't noticed that before, but pretty darn cool. And if you take a look off in the corner of the map, or the corner of my little mini map down there, you see an area over there, kind of looks tannish. That's nothing there. That's actually off the map, so there's really nothing to look at over there. But as we kind of come up this way, actually we'll hop back onto the road, here is one of the other starting farms that you can possibly go ahead and get. And I believe this is the sheep farm up here. Yep, this one's the sheep farm, so not terribly big, but you do at least have some storage here, so that is pretty neat. Now, when it comes to your how you want to go about doing this, how do you want to go about getting these lands? That right there, that hill over here, that is probably, this way, that is the most dramatic land increase that you're going to end up getting. The map is relatively flat with some little bumps, little bruises, but nothing too serious. And this is probably the most dramatic hill you're going to get. So if you do decide to come over here and get this chunk of land, you're going to want to potentially upsize your equipment, but you'd probably be fine rocking and rolling what you have. Now here is the only designated forestry area on the map, and as you can see, it's not super thick. You're going to be able to get back here with any of your harvesting equipment, even if it's just a chainsaw. You should be pretty fine back over here, but it does look like you have the potential of running out of stuff pretty quick, so you might want to go ahead and replant as you're harvesting. Now up over here is another little area that you have the potential of buying, and it's not too shabby. It's a nice little spot where you could potentially get your farming dream started. What I'm noticing, I don't know if you guys are seeing this as well, but as we're kind of driving around here, there are a lot of little spots that you could potentially start a farm, which, thinking about it, would be absolutely great for doing multiplayer. You have all these different options. You can get a bunch of people together, a bunch of people rocking and rolling at the same time. Pretty darn neat. So up here, we got our pigs. Here's the pig farm. Not too shabby at all. Nice little setup, and as you guys can see, you just kind of continue on along the trend. You have a little farmyard and a place for your animals, and that's about it. Pretty darn slick, though. I do kind of like I said, the size of all this stuff. Now, not everybody is a big fan of this stuff. If you're looking to do big farming, this is not the map for you. It's just, that's what the reality of the situation is. This is not the map for you. Okay, so there's one of the selling points right there, and let's take a peek over here. Here's your gas station. Not too shabby at all. We're gonna go up this little roadway here for just a second before we shoot on across and get ourselves back onto the fields. So, like I was saying, there's a lot of little spots, little nooks and crannies where you can potentially have a farm. It is pretty darn slick from what I'm seeing here. You have your pretty much your big main selling location over here. So there's a couple spots over here for selling. You got a couple spots over there for selling. And this is kind of what I was getting at. The nice, gentle, rolling landscape. Not too strenuous. You're going to be able to get away with just using a lot of your standard equipment. Not really having to upsize anything except for maybe that one field, and that would be about it. And then down over here is that last farm where we have the horse stall. So that's pretty darn neat. Now I think we're just going to come up here a little bit farther, and then we're going to jump up into the air and take a look at this one from up above. But like I'm saying here, guys, it's not too shabby. Just make sure you go ahead and see what you're getting into. Even if you don't take a look at all the fields, you're probably going to be able to be pretty darn safe with no matter what you get, because there's just not a lot of elevation changes throughout this entire map. For the most part, everything's relatively flat with a couple hills here and there. You might get bogged down, but nothing that's going to absolutely destroy you. The traffic's not that bad on this map. It really isn't. So with that being said, guys, let's leave the roads behind and get up in the air and see what this one looks like from up above. All right, everyone, let's go up into the sky and take a look at this thing from up above. Now, as you guys can kind of see as we're getting up here, it has a nice little checkerboard pattern to the entire map. Kind of neat. I like how that ends up looking. A weird little dead spot in the field. That's okay, though. This is what I was saying. You know, you have these couple little trees over there. You have that one little forestry area right there. And it's not too... It's enough to get yourself going, but you're not going to get rich off of cutting down trees. If you're going to be playing with seasons, it might be enough to kind of keep you going through the winter, depending on how long you have stuff. But you're probably going to have to replant trees if trees are what you want to do. Taking a look at all these little starting farms, the little nooks and crannies, it does appear that they are spread out well enough so that you aren't going to have to be sitting on top of everybody. But with that being said, maybe larger equipment might not be the biggest driving force on this particular map. Roads are fairly narrow, traffic isn't terrible, so you probably can get around, but you may want to stick to using some smaller equipment. Not saying you have to. The roads are capable of handling everything, but just as a thought, it might look like smaller to medium-sized equipment might be the best bet for getting around on this map. Guys, this map does have this nice little feel to it where you have a little bit of a... Well, with the trees and the roads and way everything is on here, it definitely feels like you're playing on a map that's a little bit bigger than it is. Not too much bigger than what it is, but just because you have to drive around through the roads are built in the way they are, where I think you're going to get more out of this than you might possibly expect. I wouldn't go ahead and count this one out until you have the opportunity to get on it, try it out, and enjoy the heck out of it. Guys, if you're liking what you're hearing, liking what you're seeing, go ahead and smash that like button. I really would appreciate it. Hit that subscription. Oh my gosh, hit that subscription. It really does help the channel out a ton. Go ahead and have that notification bell on and have it set to all. That way you know when this and other great videos are coming out by myself. Guys, go ahead and share this with somebody who likes to do multiplayer on... I'd say slightly smaller maps. Not too shabby. I'd say it's pretty darn cool if you ask me. Guys, let me know what you think about this one. Comment down below, is this one for you? Is it not for you? What would you have to say about it? And until I hear your response, everyone, thanks for stopping by.